Hello and thank you for joining me, astrologer Patrick Arundel, for your in-depth monthly horoscope for December. Now, if you've yet to subscribe to my channel, I'd be honoured if you did so now. Please also check out my year 2021 special offer personal horoscope package. You can get the whole of year 21 and also the rest of year 2020 if you order this year. Plus you can get your character analysis, all based on your time, date and place of birth. This is going to give you searing insights. No two reports are the same. It's totally based on you, the individual. So please check that out beneath this video, and there is 30% off at this time. Hello Cancer, and welcome to your December forecast. As we come into this final month of the year, we are going to see a major shift of emphasis. For you, it's very much around your welfare. The lunar eclipse, which occurred at the end of November in the sign of Gemini, re-evokes a series that began in 1984. Now, the lunar eclipse could bring up some psychological issues around your welfare. So if you're feeling a bit under-energized, or you feel a bit stressed, finding it difficult to fit all the obligations that you have in, then the sun's journey through the sign of Sagittarius is asking you to try to find the practical ways to take the pressure off. Now, sometimes that may mean saying no as much as being more adventurous in your approach. Now, of course, the health of the world has really taken quite a wallop in 2020, but you can strengthen your situation this month, and Mercury helps you from the very first day. It moves into Sagittarius through to the 20th, and this helps you to be conscious of the finer details of things. It can be a bit brittle, so it is going to be important to make sure that you drink lots of water, really eat very nutritious food, get those early nights. Of course, socialising in the usual way, in the pre-Christmas run-up, is usually packed full of different opportunities to get together with friends, colleagues and family and loved ones. That may be more limited this year because of the restrictions, but I think that Mercury in this area can just push you to be a bit more ingenious about how you can still make things fun and pleasurable. Now, it's also true to say that from the 9th through to the 11th, Mars, which is high in the sky in the sign of Aries still, very much about your ambitions, that's forging a very subtle but powerful link to the North Node, which is in your 12th house of your instincts. So when it comes to your career or your worldly hopes, goals and ambitions, a hunch could pay off spectacularly well from the 9th through to the 11th, or someone influential could put in a good word behind the scenes for you. Now, in week 2, the Sun also forges a terrific angle to Mars. And if you are wanting to gain vitality, even at this late stage of the year, get a bit fitter, do more walking or exercise, or improve exactly on what you're eating, the drive of Mars together with the Sun gives you a great opportunity to raise your vibration, raise your vitality, and if you are applying for any jobs, I think you can come across as being a very efficient, capable candidate, especially if you do want to take on any responsibilities. Now, the 14th has a sensational new moon in the sign of Sagittarius, which continues this new eclipse series away from your sign in Capricorn, which have dominated the eclipse series of the last few years. And this wonderful energy in Sagittarius gives you the opportunity, as you come into the new year and the first 5.5 months of 2021, to really get much stronger, both physically and also emotionally stronger. And that's something to really savour, because the last couple of years, and particularly the last year, may have seen quite a lot of challenges around relationships, or where you've had to be tested out by competitive forces or just the energies of life's everyday hurdles. And because of Saturn and Pluto being in your 7th house of challenges, it probably has at times been quite a wearisome process. But on the 15th, Venus, the planet of love and attraction, moves into the sign of Sagittarius too. So the first 2 weeks of this month, you have an opportunity to be quite flirty, or to be certainly exuding a very seductive and alluring vibe. But it does move into this more practical area. And if you do have the opportunity to socialise with any colleagues in the Christmas period, I do feel that someone could surprise you actually about how attractive and alluring they can be. Perhaps you're going to meet someone in an incredibly ordinary situation before the year is out, get chatting, and really there can be a marvellous spark of attraction. Now, the 17th sees Saturn, the planet of structure, but also the planet of limitation, which is a particularly grievous influence for your sign. So when it's actually in a natal birth chart in Cancer, it's really at its weakest point. But it moves into the other sign that it governs of Aquarius, if this rings a bell, went through Aquarius from the 22nd of March to the 2nd of August 2020, but it now comes back into Aquarius for the next 2.25 years. What lessons is Saturn going to be doling out? Well, I think it's going to ask you to take more care with resources, with your deepest associations. There could be some changes around your affections or the way that you marshal those resources. For example, if you are in a business partnership, it could get deeper. If you're in a business partnership that isn't quite working, perhaps it needs to change in some way in order to alter and free up your energy, which is certainly being radicalized in a very positive way by the fresh vibe of Uranus, which is wanting you to experience lots of new ways of doing things, especially collectively, working in teams, or being conversely very individualistic. I think Saturn in this area is saying that anything that's very cloying or possessive or stops you from breathing could come under a big review over this next 2.25 years. But on the 19th, Jupiter, the planet of growth, of optimism, also moves into Aquarius, where it will be through to the middle of May, and then again from the end of July to nearly the end of the year. It moves into the sign of Pisces again, just in the last few days of the year. But initially, as it comes together with Saturn on the 21st, this combination hasn't happened since 1405. It's that rare. So some kind of transformation around your resources is definitely possible, and this can be very positive. So for example, if you have assets, you have property, shares, pensions, or money that's coming to you perhaps through a legacy, this can be a time that you can alter your world in a very positive way by being very creative with those resources, that time, that energy, or even your passion and enthusiasm. So the combination of these two is something we're all going to really appreciate after that bruising combination of Saturn, Pluto and Jupiter for much of 2020. Now on the 21st we have the winter solstice, and the Sun and also Mercury move into your opposite sign. And if bridges can be built around any tie where there have been strains, this can be a fine time to do it. You may actually look at your relationship situation in a very much more detached way. Because Saturn and Pluto are so brutal at times, I think the Sun and Mercury coming together can see you rethinking some associations, perhaps some associations that you found difficult. And there is the potential for some kind of rebirth or some positive vibes to come in. And if you're single, to get chatting to someone who you're really quite smitten with. But it is true that as the year comes to a close, there is a square between Mars and Pluto. Now these two are the co-rulers of Scorpio, your fellow water sign. Mars continues high in the sky in the sign of Aries, and Pluto retains its location in your sector of relationships. So there could still be a little bit of battle for power around one key relationship in your world. So the Sun's combination with Mercury is saying, keep the dialogue open, keep chatting things backwards and forwards. The key to communication is not speaking, it's listening. And even beyond listening, it's comprehension. So Sometimes people will say things in quite a simple way, but it will have a profound impact. Other people can make grand explanations to things when really, if we look at what really they're meaning, it could be something much more emotional. So don't be too kidded by the more obvious communications. Try to understand what's beneath that. But I certainly feel if you sense that someone is trying to maneuver you around, not being respectful of your boundaries, this could be a time that you push back a bit. But in general, I do also think it can be a time of great growth for relationships. Now, the 30th does see the full moon in your sign, bring into the end of the year. What a year it's been, Cancer. And this is really saying to you that around your relationship, it's important not to forget who you are in them. So as much as we may want to reach out, compromise, give and take, harmonise, be very receptive and aware of what others want from us, it's also vitally important that we don't stop being our own individual selves. So it's about meeting the midpoint between the moon in your sign, your emotional needs, and the sun in the sign of Capricorn, about your desire to successfully connect with others. And if you can find that balance right as you come into the new year, what a new year it can be. So much more hopeful than last year. But the big takeout from this month is definitely the focus on your welfare, on your structure of life, making sure that everything works for you in an efficient, organised way. Now, Cancer people are often brilliant managers of things, so it could be that you don't immediately see where I'm coming from, but there are always sort of little areas of improvement that we can make, whether it is to our nutrition, whether it is to the amount of exercise we get, whether it is spending less time being in a more sitting posture, we're more active, we're more moving around. Or if you're in a job which doesn't give you much personal fulfillment, maybe it's well paid, maybe it's worthy, maybe you help other people. But if you're not gaining a passion from it, I do feel that that's the type of themes that really are going to bring this year to an end, trying to improve your relationships where possible. And as you come into 2021, new hope around strengthening your situation in so many ways. It's been a real pleasure being with you, Cancer. I'd like to wish you a very happy Christmas, the best that can be possible in the circumstances, and New Year. But for now, take care, good luck, stay safe, and goodbye.